of Americans down south recover and rebuild from Hurricane Ida. We've been monitoring this hurricane closely and the devastation it's caused. To date, 6 deaths. About 1 million homes are without power in Louisiana and Mississippi. While the catastrophic flooding wasn't as severe as it was during Hurricane Katrina 16 years ago, Ida was so powerful that it caused the Mississippi River literally to change direction, change the flow temporarily. The good news is that as a result of significant multi-billion-dollar federal investment in the levee system around Metro New Orleans, it held. It was strong. It worked. But too many people and too many areas are still unprotected and saw a storm surge and flooding that was devastating. We've seen the reports of winds up to 170 miles per hour. It's not been confirmed yet by FEMA, but 170 miles an hour, causing unimaginable damage with debris and down power lines, making roads impassable, and slowing response efforts to save folks and property. You know, the people continue to shelter in place. Tomorrow, I'll be traveling to Louisiana to meet with Governor John Bel Edwards, as well as the parish presidents and mayors and the local officials representing the affected areas. Governor Edwards encouraged me to come and assured me that my visit will not disrupt recovery efforts on the ground. That's what I wanted to be sure of. My message to everyone affected is we're all in this together. The nation is here to help. That's the message I've been making clear to the mayors, governors, energy and utility leaders in the region who my administration has been working closely with over the past few days. Working with governors in the area, even before Ida made landfall, I issued emergency declarations for Louisiana and Mississippi to help us respond quickly. FEMA pre-positioned more than 4.3 million meals and more than 3 million liters of water and other critical resources in the region before it hit. We deployed more than 250 generators, and we're working to getting more into the area, especially to hospitals in desperate need of them. The Department of Health and Human Services deployed a 250-bed federal medical shelter in New Orleans and 5 medical assistance teams available throughout the state. Since the hurricane hit, more than 6,000 members of the National Guard have been activated in Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and Texas, and other states to support search and rescue and recovery efforts. For those who have lost their homes, states have been working with the American Red Cross to open almost 50 shelters across the Gulf Coast. We know that there is much to be done in this response on our part. We need to get power restored. We need to get more food, fuel, and water deployed. I get hourly updates on the progress from FEMA well into the night, and we'll be working around the clock until the critical needs of the region are fully met, and we will meet them. Even as we tackle the core elements of the disaster response, we're also deploying new tools to help speed this recovery, things that have not been used very much in prior hurricane responses. Working with private companies that own and operate the lifeline infrastructure, like electricity and communications. We've used the latest technology to accelerate restoration of power and cell phone service. It's beginning to get back up, but there's a long way to go. For example, to minimize the amount of time it will take to get the power back to everyone, I've directed the Federal Aviation Commission, the FAA, to authorize the use of surveillance drones to assess Ida's damage to energy infrastructure, while ensuring those flights do not disrupt aerial search and rescue missions. Likewise, I've asked the Pentagon, the Department of Homeland Security, and the Department of Energy to immediately make available any satellite imagery they can help provide in assessing the extent of the damage. Drones and satellites can make the work faster by getting to the places that are most desperately in need. They can identify where the lines are down, map the damage, help get the transmission lines back up and running in all the parishes. But people, hard-working people, do the complicated and dangerous work. There are more than 25,000 linemen and clearance crews from 32 states in the District of Columbia racing to restore power. In Alabama, 2 have died on the job. This is complicated and really dangerous work, but we're moving as fast as humanly possible to get it done. It's important to know that the region hit by Ida is the key center of our nation's oil production and refining infrastructure. That's why we're not waiting to assess the full impact of the storm is going to have on oil production and refineries. We're moving already, quickly, to increase the availability of gas and easing the pressure on gas prices around the country. I've directed the Secretary of Energy, Jennifer Granholm, to use all of the tools at her disposal, including using the Strategic Petroleum Reserve to keep gas flowing to the pumps. In order to get critical supplies to the region to beat the pandemic, I directed the Department of Transportation to renew an energy declaration to provide flexibility on how many hours a truck driver can drive. Most people don't know there's a limitation on the number of hours you can be on the road. The Transportation Department is broadening that emergency declaration to include transportation of gasoline and other types of fuel as well, in addition to medical supplies and food. In addition, the Environmental Protection Agency has approved emergency waivers for Louisiana and Mississippi that will expand the supply of gasoline that can be sold in those states and increase availability at such a critical time. These actions should help reduce the risk of gas shortages and price increases as a result of the hurricane. We also know a lot of people lost cell phone service because their particular carrier's tower went down or got damaged. A few days ago, I asked the Federal Communications Commission, the FCC, and my White House team to work with the cell phone companies to allow customers to use roaming services. So that means that folks in the area should be able to get a signal no matter what carrier they're with. If their one carrier's down, they can roam and use another carrier they're not part of, they're not signed up with. Just think of the sons and the daughters and the moms and dads, the loved ones trying to reach each other, and the feeling of fear, maybe something happened, and it's just because they can't, the cell phone's not working. Think of the millions of people reaching out for help. This is important and it's critical.